watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television. This is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into The Sports Source. Happy holiday season to you. About Halloween each year, I start getting emails. Hey, are you guys going to do the dancing and the elves this year? Yes, so you can enjoy it all December. We appreciate our solid old dancers in that segment. Thought they looked pretty good. Big win to talk about. Well, big win in terms of what it means to the program, not necessarily a pretty win. We'll talk about Tennessee's 24-17 victory over Vanderbilt yesterday. Also some Donnie Tyndall stuff to discuss. It's a jam-packed show. Bowl scenarios, we'll tell you all about it. First segment of our show brought to you by Phil Cobble, Fine Homes and Land. If you are tired of waiting for your home to sell, you need to give the team at Phil Cobble Fine Homes and Land a call. They use every possible technology to market your home, like this show, like that home, right there. Look at that. We showed you this last week. I want to show it again. The next couple of weeks, I'm going to be telling you about this beautiful 7-acre lakefront estate on Melton Hill Lake. Yet another of the beautiful homes Phil Cobble and his team handle in West Knox County, Loudoun County, Blount County. Phil Cobble, Fine Homes and Land. Check them out. Go to their website this week or give them a call. All right. Let's tell you, I teased it a little bit earlier, but here's what we got coming up in today's show. We're going to talk about Tennessee's great escape. We're going to talk about Tennessee going bowling. We're going to talk about Josh Dobbs' performance. We got some scary stats regarding the absence of Matt Crowder. Bowl scenarios, and that is a complicated mess this year. Throw out everything you knew in the past. It's a new process. Donnie Tyndall loses a couple of his aides this week. We'll discuss a few quick slants as well. Plus, Tennessee plays Marquette this afternoon. But are people going to be paying attention? We'll discuss that as well. All right. Want to welcome in the full panel here. Well, part of the panel anyway. We got Bob Hodge, freelance contributor to the Knoxville News Sentinel.
Good morning.
Will Overstreet, former Vol, former NFL defensive lineman. Jimmy Himes from the Sports Animal, Sports Radio, WNML 99.1 and 990. And we got down there, yours is much easier, Chuck Cavaleris from Tennessee Golf Central and many other publications. All right, you look at Tennessee in this opening drive, wasn't a pretty win by any stretch, but it was a win. 24-17, the big point, Tennessee gets bowl eligible. I thought they'd be 5-7 this year. For a while yesterday, I thought I might be right. 6-6. 6-6 with arguably the youngest team in the country, certainly one of the youngest teams in the country. Depth has been an issue all year, and you had depth issues all over the field yesterday, yet you somehow grind it out and get to 6-6. Thoughts on style points? Is that something you would worry about with this program at this point?
What was the Bobby McFerrin song?
Don't worry.
Be happy. And that's what I think Tennessee fans need to do. You won 2 years in a row. Vanderbilt has been a stumbling block for you. Yesterday, you got by them. You didn't play well, but you got by them. Be happy. You won the ball game. Nothing else matters to me. You won the ball game.
I mean, all teams suffer through bad wins. I mean, in any season. I mean, Florida State has lived on that this year.
That's right.
Yeah, really.
So, I mean, getting disappointed about having a bad win is not such a bad thing. I mean, we've been in this game the last couple of years and have lost this game. So I think overall, you have to look at this and say they were successful. Also, you think about what this coaching staff has going into the offseason about what they can say to recruits. We're 12 points away from being the SEC winner of the East.
Yeah.
We need you to come and play for us. I mean, this team did exactly what it needed to do. The beginning of the year, what we talked about is why they wanted to redshirt Dobbs was their base goal line was to get to a bowl game. That's been accomplished. This has been a successful year for this coaching staff.
Before I get your take, let me show up some numbers here. People might have forgotten this. Pretty good Tennessee teams under Peyton Manning, all right? 11-1 in 1995. Vanderbilt a horrible 2-9. Tennessee beat them 12-7. In '96, Tennessee was 10-2. Vanderbilt 2-9. Tennessee beat them 14-7. 1997, Tennessee 11-2. Awful Vanderbilt 3-8. Tennessee beat them 17-10. And in hindsight, I'm probably the only guy that remembers that enough to put it on a screen. It's a win. A win is a win. In my view, do you guys see it that way, or are you a little concerned coming out of that one?
You got to the bowl, and that was your main goal in this situation. But the thing is, it doesn't engender great confidence toward looking at next year because you see so many flaws. I didn't think Tennessee would cover the spread. What'd you have? 20?
I thought it was 10.
No, you.
First one he missed all year. Right?
Because I thought that Vanderbilt would play its best game, and I didn't think Tennessee was going to show any great guns in this contest. But you did get to win. You get to bowl game. You get to play. Well, we think they're going to go to Memphis. We'll see. But at least you get to go to bowl game and snap a skid that stretches back to 2010.
Yeah, I was watching that thinking, boy, what would have happened if you had to rely solely on your offense to win this game like you felt like you had so many times this year? Your defense came up with some turnovers. Your secondary made some great. Look at the interception by Todd Kelly Jr. And you had an interception in the end zone. Look at your kicking game. Matt Darr now for the past two
Yes.
that's been his best punting. And then you had a punt return for a touchdown. So if you'd had to rely solely on your offense, I don't think you come home with that win.
I think. Go ahead.
I was about to say, and all that stuff comes under the heading of you did what you had to do to be able to win the ball game and get to a bowl. And I just think with the injuries that Tennessee's had, the situation where you are, and the fact 9 out of 12 times your offensive line stunk this season.
Yeah.
I think 9 out of 12.
10 out of 12.
Maybe 10 out of 12 your
10 out of
offensive
12.
line stunk. So I think all that adds up to, hey, you got it, be happy.
I agree, and I think you could look at it now, ifs and buts, or Christmas candy and nuts, all that stuff. Tennessee, you look at that defense. If they had stopped Vanderbilt, they had one horrible drive. Tennessee takes the 2-touchdown lead, and they let Vanderbilt. And part of that is Patton Robinette, who saves his best for Tennessee every year. He had a 30-yard run to keep a drive alive. If Tennessee stops Vanderbilt right there, you probably win 24-10, and nobody's really upset about it.
Right.
They had one drive where they really just went to sleep. Did not look good. Bad tackling, everything else. Let the guy run over him at the goal line. But when they needed to make plays on that last drive, they got it made. And you also have to say they were aided a little bit by Vanderbilt being Vanderbilt. They dropped some balls. But Vandy, you got to give them credit yesterday. Robinette making a Brett Favre type pass at one point. He couldn't do that again in a million years. There would have been a touchdown pass from Dobbs. Vandy, linebacker, reaches behind his head. I guarantee you he's not made that play all year. One question about Derek Mason. They kept saying last night, well, he's rolled up his sleeves and he's getting involved in the defense. He's not the CEO this week. If you're a Vanderbilt fan, aren't you asking, why the heck are you just not doing this in Week 12?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about dubious distinctions. Vanderbilt avoided losing every SEC game by double digits because they kept this close. So, yeah, I was thinking that. I mean, I'm sure Vanderbilt fans were too. Both of them.
You look at Tennessee's depth yesterday. They survived. Jalen Hurd going out hurt immensely.
Right,
that was a big problem, and that's something you're gonna have to worry about moving into next year. Having depth at that running back position. Marlon Lane, give him credit for coming in. He's not 100%, but give him credit for doing what he did. But depth-wise, your receiving core is depleted, the Matt Crowder absence. I think there were reasons to look at it and say, okay, youth, you're playing backups. I mean, there are legitimate excuses for an ugly performance yesterday.
And plus, you had played a very physical game last week. Against Missouri. You're a young team that was beat up, and then you go out and you play a very physical team in Missouri last week. So I think it all just kind of caught up with you a little bit.
Well, and I think you also have a young team that looks at Vanderbilt, looks at them on paper, watches the tape of Vanderbilt and says, we can roll our hat out on the field and win this ball game. So I think you have a little bit of that overestimating your ability compared to their ability and being able to say we can show up and beat this team.
How many Tennessee fans before the game were already trying to figure out what bowl you're going to? And I'm thinking, you better make sure you win this game.
Trust me, about halftime yesterday, I was thinking, am I going to have to rework tomorrow's show? I was not liking it. All right. Want to remind folks that, this is the end of football season, but we're year-round right here. This is, we're going to be moving from year 12 into year 13 this holiday season. Next week, we'll be talking about the bowl process, where we'll be making projections on where Tennessee will go because we'll know a lot more. We'll be talking basketball. Throughout December, we'll have a bowl preview show at some point. We'll have basketball throughout. December 21st, it's our annual Christmas show, which ironically is usually our jokiest and meanest show of the year. And then in 2015, basketball, recruiting, spring practice, SEC meetings, SEC media days, fall practice, right back into football season next year. So if you're sitting there at home right now thinking, well, this is the end, I'll catch them next fall. No, we'll be here next week. And next segment, we're going to talk about the importance of this bowl trip for Tennessee. What does it mean for the program? What's it mean for Butch Jones? And we'll grade Josh Dobbs' performance. Come on back on the Sports Source.
Decks, dens, homes. Turn to Benedict Construction.